Good day, ladies and gentlemen. It is Friday, September 9th, 2022. I am at the Vancouver Metal Investors Forum, and I am here with Darwin Green. He's the CEO of HighGold Mining, one of the companies that I invited to speak in my blog. HighGold has an existing very high-grade gold resource that they're working on expanding, very well located in Alaska, and they've been busy for a couple of months, and they probably will be for a month or two more drilling. I know you were hoping to have something out before MIF, but that's not the way it worked. But I'm assuming stuff is like pretty close.
Yeah, very near. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, for sure.
And do you want to, last year HighGold generated the third best drill intercept in the world, I think.
I think so.
Yeah, like it was crazy high grade. And you've done a lot of holes to sort of kind of bracket that drill to follow it up. And the nature of that drilling, those holes didn't have to be that deep. So you still had a lot of meterage.
Yeah. So, I mean, for the start of this year's program, obviously that big hit last year we didn't know about it till the end of the year. So we had zero ability to follow up, which is part of the reason why we're trying to get quicker assay turnaround this year to be able to follow up and in the same season. But that's where we started. So that was priority number one. Let's get on this. Let's see if it has got some legs to it. And so we did a fairly detailed grid, stepping out in roughly 100 meter by 100 meter box to understand both the geometry and geological controls, but also understand that grade distribution. It's highly unlikely you're going to get 500 grams a ton every drill hole, but you're into a system that has grades. So you want to understand that nuggetiness, and that's kind of teed us up now for where to go, right? So these assays are coming very near term on a batch. We should have a few batches that come from this over the next little bit here now that we've set up this lab. So as you know, we set up a on-site prep facility with the idea to get more rapid turnaround, because that was the bottleneck in the labs for the assaying. So we've got that set up. It's like kind of like commissioning a mill. There's a few. It doesn't always work perfectly in the beginning, but we're up and running, and it's the system's going now. So as soon as these come in, we should start to have pretty rapid turnaround.
And you do, in fact, assuming you're going to get some stuff quite soon here, it is going to meet the goal, which is that you will in fact be able to follow up this year. Is that
exactly? Yeah. Visually we're seeing stuff. We had a news release out a few weeks ago where we could see stuff that looked an awful lot like the main deposit. I mean, we're not seeing those 50, 100 meter widths. We're still seeing respectable widths, but it's got the same mineralogy, similar style of silicification, brecciation, and that unique anhydrite alteration around it. We think we're still a little higher in the system than what you actually see at JT proper, which bodes well for us taking it to depth. But yeah, visually like what we see, but we still really want those assays, because the one thing that's, I guess, characteristic of both the main deposit and the DC area is you can't tell the gold grade. You just can't. It's very, very fine grade. I mean, it recovers very nice through metallurgy, but you just don't know until you get the assays back. And
this high grade area, it's part of a larger trend, right? And how's it looking in terms of being able to test anything else on that trend?
Yeah. So, I mean, one of the challenges is having, it's a big budget of 10,000 meters plus, and we got 2 drills. There's a lot we want to tackle. So for the first month, we put both drills on that area, and we've got, 25 plus holes into it now. We pulled one drill off to go back to the main deposit because it was really important for us to do some things there, keep growing that. I mean, it's a heck of a nice deposit. It's open to expansion. And then there was a couple other prospects areas, one being Milkbone, which is kind of on the other side of the mountain from Difficult Creek. We had some really hot soils and rock samples there, mostly overburden covered. So we got a few holes in there. So we're waiting on those up results as well. And we also drilled a spot that was kind of partway in between the two. And we got one hole into Kona. But there's so much more we'd like to be drilling. So we will see what happens here. We've now pulled the one drill back to DC just because we've liked enough what we're seeing. And the big question mark is, do we pull the second rig off of JT to kind of double up on it, or do we just we like what we're seeing in both areas. So it's how
at average weather year, how long can you guys keep going, do you think?
Well, I could just use the last 2 years
Right.
by example. And so we got out somewhere between the 25th and the 30th of October of the
Okay.
last 2 years. So
You still got quite a bit of.
yeah, for sure. Yeah. So and reality this year, we wanted to start earlier, but the snowpack was just such that we didn't get the first drill turning until the 4th of July.
Right.
Second drill started turning on July 14th. So really we're only, now we got 2 going full. So we're just about halfway through. We're a little over 5,000 meters, 5,500 meters, something like that.
Okay, so it sounds like, there's going to be a lot of drill results for, well, hopefully not months and months this year after last year's lab fiasco, but months. Let's just go with a single months plural.
Yeah.
Are you thinking you're going to go back to Timmins again? I mean,
We'd like to.
I know that's not your main thing.
I mean, we'd like to. I mean, obviously, JT is the main event,
Yeah.
and if we can show that DC is turning into a legitimate second deposit, that's a huge win for us, and obviously it should create some real shareholder value. We're very optimistic on that front. But yeah, I mean, we have one of the biggest land positions for a junior in the Timmins camp. It's very good ground in terms of geological kind of fundamentals behind those areas. We made a new discovery this past spring. The market gave us, in fact, sold us off on it.
Right.
It was low grade, it's a
Yeah.
bulk tonnage, low grade type thing, and it's wide open to follow up. So obviously, we want to get back on that. We think if we chase that back into the pipestone, you can take 100 meters of half gram and turn it maybe into 100 meters of a gram and a half, and then
Right.
you're laughing. So we'll see. Winter is a nice time to drill. There's some golden miles, an area that I've really wanted to get back to. There's some actually almost like more Red Lake style a model that we're applying to that area.
Right.
It's been under lake cover, very shallow. It's only 10 feet deep, so you can
Right.
drill from the ice or from barge. So like to do that if we can, but we're going to kind of gauge the market, and we'll have the cash to do it. It's just we're very sensitive to being disciplined with our capital right now. So.
And when you did your presentation this morning, which people should watch, obviously, I was curious to know if you sort of had the big picture, sort of countrywide map. And here's Alaska, here's Ontario, and then you had this little thing sticking into the Yukon.
Yeah.
What's that all about?
Yeah, it's kind of one of these things that we haven't talked about at all. But when the company was formed, we actually got Yukon assets into the company that came out of Constantine, that original spin out. And we had a huge land position back in the day. We staked all through the Selwyn Basin area, following up on regional government silt geochemistry. And we'd spent a summer advancing those prospects, doing contour soils and silts. And we actually came up with some really, really nice soil anomalies. And then it stopped. It stopped in its tracks, and it sat there. And so it's been sitting in the back of the closet this whole time. But obviously, Yukon has come into the spotlight lately with what Snowline's doing. In fact, some of the ground we had, we've actually optioned to Snowline. So not on the area that they've made their recent discovery, but not very far away. Some of it we optioned to Fireweed Zinc, who are also in the area. But probably the biggest and best soil anomaly that we had on the property was a property called Tut, or King Tut property. And it has kilometer scale soil anomalies that have never been drill tested. So if you're looking for another look-alike to a Snowline, it's kind of at that same drill ready stage. It's kind of it's a nice bonus, I think, for shareholders. Don't know yet what we're going to do, but if we're going to go drill it ourselves, I think we're going to spend some time geologically. We like it a lot, but it certainly is something that we thought we'd try and daylight value on.
Yeah, you guys are full of surprises. So great name. Keep in mind they already got a million plus ounce high grade gold deposit near the coast. Good logistics in Alaska, and they're drilling. It sounds like you're going to be drilling 40, 50 holes by the sounds of it. So there's tons of drill results coming. Maybe not some work in Timmins, and I don't know anything other than what Darwin just said about the thing in the Yukon, but that sounds interesting too. But obviously JT is the main event. Lots of results coming. Pretty good bet. Some of those are going to be high grade because that's just what Johnson Tract is. Lots of money, really well structured, good share structure, good and tight. You guys are doing a great job since day one, Darwin. Keep up the good work, man.
Well, thanks, Eric, and thanks very much for your support.
Yeah,